What is up? My name is Warren E. Freeman Jr. This is Warren's Vlog. I'm here with episode 71. A little personal issue with me. I was in a car accident yesterday. Thankfully, I'm okay, obviously. A little banged up, a little bruised, little neck pain, a little arm pain. The passenger that was with me is okay as well. So I'm dealing with that right now. So this is what gets my mind off of all that crap. And I feel like this fan is too loud. So I'm going to turn this fan off. Turn the music down just a tad. Okay, here we go. Also, any music you hear in the background, I do not own the rights to. That being said, Maroon 5 is awesome. Okay, so this is going to be episode 71. It's Raw and SmackDown again. So I'm doing both. I'm already parched. Alright, let's go. I was actually at SmackDown this past Tuesday. It was in Pittsburgh. It was in the queue. But I didn't want to do the review solely on my live experience. That being said, I did cheat a little bit. I fast forward a lot through SmackDown. But I still wanted to get kind of a TV perspective and a live perspective as well. And I'm going to talk about that more when I get into SmackDown. Alright. So, we start off with Monday Night Raw. Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar come out. Paul Heyman cuts a promo. My expectations are always far above average for a Heyman promo. And he about performed the expectation with this promo. It was good. Paul shows footage of Brock's beatdown of Reigns last week. Heyman makes two breaking points, or breaking news points. He says, number one, Reigns has been suspended, or his suspension has been lifted. And then his breaking news point number two is that he announces that Reigns is not in the arena. Now, we all know what happens when a wrestler announces that they're not in the arena. What happens? It actually turns out they are in the arena, right? Yeah. So, well, before Reigns shows up, inevitably, Paul Heyman says that if the tables were turned, and if Reigns would have beaten down Brock Lesnar last week, and he got all graphic into it, saying that if Reigns would have taken Brock Lesnar's leg and beaten him into the ground with it, like me in Mortal Kombat and shit, because that was Quan Chi's fatality in Mortal Kombat. I'm a Mortal Kombat mark, so I kind of popped when Heyman said that. So Heyman's like, oh, if Reigns would have beaten down Brock Lesnar last week and tore his legs off, beaten him with it, Brock Lesnar would come to the ring on his knuckles, get in the ring, lay the Universal title out, and tell Reigns to come and take it from him. And Paul Heyman says, but Roman Reigns doesn't have the guts to show up. He doesn't have the guts to beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Reigns shows up, noticeably injured from the crowd. He grabs a chair. Brock clotheslines him. Then Reigns sends Brock into the ring post. Reigns hits Brock with a chair 3 times. He jumps off the steps, tries to do a Superman punch, creating enough distance for Brock Lesnar to counter. Brock gives him a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. Brock gets in the ring, takes the steel steps, bashes him in the head, gives him an F5 onto the steel steps. That looks great, by the way. And that's the end of that. I didn't break this down in the hour increments because I watched both shows on Hulu, so I didn't break them down in the hour increments like I normally do. Alright, so we got out of that. We come back from commercial break. Reigns is selling, but he's walking away after getting beat up. Then we go to Nia Jax versus Mickie James. They recap the conversation that Alexa Bliss and Mickie James had about Nia Jax 2 weeks ago, making fun of her and all that. At this point, we don't know who Nia Jax is facing. But Alexa Bliss's music plays, and they introduce Mickie James. And this is one of those nitpick type of things here. Why did they play Alexa Bliss's music? Why not play Mickey's if she's facing Mickie? That's just a little nitpick. Nia wins with the press slam Samoa drop. Nia Jax chases Alexa Bliss out of the ring. Well, Alexa Bliss tries to attack her after Nia wins, and then Nia looks at her like, bitch, and then chases, Alexa runs out of the ring. And then Nia Jax starts screaming like, "Ah! At WrestleMania! I'm gonna beat you!" Ah! And it's like, I don't like emotional Nia Jax. I can't. Kind of reminds me of emotional Big Show. Almost. It's like they're trying to get the audience to sympathize with Nia Jax, but how could you, other than her feelings being hurt? I mean, I don't like the whole over the top emotional Nia Jax. I don't like it. I like it when she didn't show emotion. Okay. So then we go to Triple H and Stephanie package. I watched a little bit of this on YouTube, but obviously it wasn't the full thing because on Raw it was more of an extended clip. And they show Triple H working out, they show Stephanie working out, and then their trainer, I forgot to write his name down, but he goes on there and says some bullshit that he's trained Olympic athletes, he's trained NFL, Super Bowl contenders, and he's trained what else I write down here, UFC fighters, and not only are Triple H and Stephanie on their level, but they exceed what they do. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I don't work out with Triple H and Stephanie. I wouldn't know. But I do think that's just a little bit of hype, just to make Triple H and Stephanie look like a threat. Which, that's the problem with this. I mean, Triple H is a credible threat. And I will say this, even though I saw right through it, they did a good job of making it seem like Stephanie McMahon is a credible threat to Ronda Rousey. They did a hell of a job. Even though I saw right through it, Stephanie saying, I was born in the ring. And then they showed her match with Brie Bella at SummerSlam. Like, of all the matches that you've had, which you haven't had a lot of matches yourself, Stephanie, but that's the one you pick to show, or the highlight. Anyway, even though I saw straight through it, they did a good job of trying to make Stephanie look like a badass. But let's face it, this is Ronda frickin' Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon. It's a mixed tag match. We're just talking about those two individually, and the video is amazing what the WWE video production team can do. I have complimented them many times. And it was a good video package, but I saw right through it. I'm not convinced. I don't think Triple H and Stephanie collectively are a threat. They highlighted Triple H and Angle, saying that, Triple H, if I beat Kurt Angle, it would be just like I beat him in the Attitude Era. I do it all the time. It's nothing different. It's another day at the office. But for Ronda Rousey to lose to Stephanie McMahon, an executive, well, that's got to be embarrassing. Which, and I just thought about this, is counterproductive. You're trying to build Stephanie up as this badass, but then Triple H basically goes and counteracts that and says, well, it'd be an embarrassment for Ronda Rousey to lose to an executive. So what are you saying? Why would it be an embarrassment for Ronda Rousey to lose to Stephanie McMahon if you're trying to make Stephanie McMahon look like a threat? And that's what killed it for me. I don't know what Triple H is trying to do, but he counteracted their intent there, to me. Okay, we go to Miz TV, and I must admit, this is one of the most entertaining Miz TVs that I've seen in a while. So Miz comes out. He gets a pop because he's from Cleveland. I don't know how much of a pop he got when his music is, because I wasn't there live, but he gets a pop. The Miz says, I live in LA. And then he goes on to discredit Cleveland again when he's chastising Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel by saying, if I wanted failure, I would have stayed here in Cleveland instead of moving to LA. So he denounces Cleveland. He chastises the Mr. Ross. He starts tearing into Bo Dallas, starts tearing into Curtis Axel. I forget what Miz said. Maybe I wrote it down. But, so he's starting to get on them really bad. Rollins comes out. And Rollins said, you know what, you should be thanking them instead of chastising them, because without them, you wouldn't be the Intercontinental Champion right now. And then Rollins even gets a Mr. Ross chant. And to me, Rollins did more to get Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas over than Miz has done the entire tenure of their group, which is crazy to me. The Miz says, hey, even without the Mr. Ross, I'd still be a success. I'd still be Intercontinental Champion. I'd still be this. I'd still be that. Then Bo Dallas says, yeah, you'd be an a fake A-lister who can't fight. But he says it in the mic clear as day. But they try to act like they didn't hear it. So then Bo Dallas comes out, or I'm sorry, Finn Balor comes out and says, you know, I don't think I heard what Bo Dallas said. He said something about Miz being a jerk or something like that. Then Bo Dallas says, no, I said Miz will be a fake A-lister who can't fight. And he says it more clear this time, and Miz says, say it again. He goes to say it again. He slaps Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas tries to go after the Miz. Curtis Axel gets in between them to try to separate them. And Miz says, you know what, I'm trying to fire you up. I'm trying to fire you up. Then he says, you know, I'm a greater Intercontinental Champion than Macho Man Randy Savage, then Shawn Michaels, then Bret Hart, then Mr. Perfect. Curtis Axel turns around and says, he doesn't say anything. He just gives Miz that look. Miz is like, wait a minute, I let it slip. I didn't mean that. For those who don't get that, Mr. Perfect is Curtis Axel's dad, Kurt Hennig. So Miz tries to leave the ring. Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel block him from leaving the ring. So they back him up into Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, who are cheesing like a treasure cat. While Miz is backed up into Rollins and Balor, the Miztourage attack Rollins and Balor. So the whole thing was a setup to beat down Rollins and Balor. The club comes out to even things up. And then, the Miz is left in the ring with Seth and Finn. They take out the Miz. Miz tries to run back in, gets intercepted again with a sling blade. And I'm confused now because they both do the fucking sling blade. So I want to say it was Balor. Yeah, it was Balor because Balor did the sling blade. Rollins tried to hit the curb stomp. Miz rolled out of the ring. And then Finn Balor hit a clothesline or a sling blade on Finn Balor. Balor hit Rollins with a sling blade and stood over him. And then there's that. So that's how that segment ended, which I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like I said, one of the most enjoyable Miztourage segments. Kane backstage promo. After that, Kane basically says, Cena's not going to WrestleMania. He's going to hell. And some demons want to rest in peace. And they don't want to be bothered. So leave me the fuck alone, more or less. But anyway, so that's how that promo ends. Cena, is going to hell, blah, blah, blah. Then we go Sasha and Bayley backstage. Now, they show the hype video, what's been happening the past 2 weeks between the two. Then we get a backstage segment with them fighting in the locker room. What leads up to this is Bayley says, I know what you're trying to do. You screw me over because you can't beat me. Then Sasha says, well, I'm a 4-time women's champion. First off, what the fuck does that have to do with Bayley? What Bayley just said? Bayley said, you can't beat me, but then Sasha says, well, I'm a 4-time women's champion. That has nothing to do with you not being able to beat Bayley. So Bayley says, well, how long did you keep it? And that is what set Sasha off. Sasha throws her into the locker, and then the locker's backstage, and then they're broken up by the stage crews and referees. I guess I really shouldn't let this bother me so much because I don't care about the Sasha heel turn to begin with. Because it took him a fucking year to get to it. But the fact that it took him a year of slow building to get Sasha to turn heel, and then you do it in a backstage segment to where it's going to be forgotten about? Man. And then it's not even confirmed that Sasha actually turned heel. That's just speculation. But if that was Sasha's heel turn, the fact that it took you motherfuckers a year of slow burning to get to that moment, and then you blow it off in a backstage segment just irritates the hell out of me. Oh. Man. Man, oh man, oh man. Alright, so then we go to Strowman versus Sheamus, and predictable booking is predictable. Because Sheamus and Cesaro come out and say, hey, I want to know who your tag team partner is. And Braun says, well, if you can beat me, I'll tell you who it is. So what better way to make us wait than to have Braun Strowman go over on Sheamus, which he does. And Sheamus got those hands. And then that's that. Moving on. We get to the Rousey segment. This is something that Cole said on commentary. I hope it doesn't become a thing. He said that it's the team Olympians. It's the Olympian team versus the team of bosses. And I just hate when WWE puts titles on shit. Like the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. The phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Okay, I guess that's okay. Once in a lifetime. The Beast versus the Best. Or, I hate when WWE puts taglines and titles on shit. It's so bothersome, and I hope this doesn't become the Olympians versus the Bosses. I hope it was just a one-off line that Michael Cole said that hopefully gets forgotten about. Okay, so then we go. Kurt Angle comes out and introduces Ronda Rousey. They have a dialogue about WrestleMania, how, we're gonna have fun at WrestleMania, but it's not gonna be easy. This, that, and the third. Absolution comes out. Paige calls Ronda Rousey baby girl like 4 times in this promo. I don't know why. It kind of sounds sexy when she says it, but it's still kind of awkward. But I think Paige is just sexy to me in general. So, and the red lipstick is starting to wear on me too. Paige is just sexy to me. I don't know, but she calls Ronda Rousey like baby girl 4 times in this promo. She tries to get Ronda Rousey to join up with them to become the 4th member of Absolution. Ronda says no, and Paige says, baby girl, you just made a mistake. And then Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville get their ass beat by Ronda Rousey. Ronda hit Sonya Deville with what looked like a clothesline. It took her down. It was a punch or a clothesline or something. It took her down. So then from there we go Mandy Rose. She suplexes Mandy Rose. It's some sort of weird looking suplex. Gets Mandy Rose in a grounded armbar. And Kurt, stops her from breaking Mandy Rose's arm. Personally, I would have just broke Mandy Rose's arm, or I would have booked it that way. Because, I hate how Cole was like, I hope Stephanie McMahon is watching this. And if I'm Stephanie McMahon and I'm watching this, first I'm scared shitless already. But what happened on Raw would not have scared me. Or maybe I'm just talking to me personally. I don't think that Ronda Rousey beating up Absolution is... it sends a message that she can kill bitches dead. That's pretty much it. But, if she would have beat up, I don't know, a more prominent woman on the roster, like Alexa Bliss or Sasha or Bayley or something like that, that would be more of a, oh, shit. Okay, but you beat up basically 2, I don't want to call them jobbers, but 2 lower tier women on the roster. Yeah. But yeah, so there's that. After that, they review the WrestleMania card. They recap Cena and Taker. They announce that Seth Rollins is going to face Finn Balor next week. And then they announce that Rousey, Angle, Triple H, and Stephanie are all going to be in the same ring next week in Atlanta. So that should be fun, I guess. And, man, I'm getting through this Raw quickly. Did I miss anything? No. I'm just strolling right through this one at Raw. So then we go to Cena and Kane. And I wasn't gonna rant. I was gonna rant about Kane supposedly being dead, or supposed to be dead, kayfabe dead after Strowman flipped the table on him. But I'm not gonna rant again this week because at least they mentioned that he had been in a rivalry with Braun Strowman recently, and they mentioned the announced table flip, but they didn't explain how Kane survived that. But that's okay. I'm not gonna waste any more energy on it. At least they fucking acknowledge that. Okay, well, Kane recently was feuding with Braun Strowman. Let me just say this about Kane in general. Do I agree that Kane is in the twilight of his career? Yes. Is Kane out of shape? Yes. Can Kane go the way that he went 10 years ago? No. But to me, and I'm biased. I'm the first to admit I'm biased. So Kane is one of my favorite big men wrestlers of all time. I put him above The Undertaker. And the reason why I put him above The Undertaker is because I feel like Kane's character is more diverse than The Undertaker. But The Undertaker, all you have is, dead man, biker taker, Short hair biker Taker, which was good. Ministry Taker, which was just was I don't want to say unbelievable, but just over the top, but it was good. And then you have the Dead Man, the reincarnated Dead Man. Kane, you have felt they have managed to, and this is not just on Glenn Jacobs too. It's on the way that the booking team books this guy. You feel sympathy for Kane. You can laugh at Kane. Kane can be funny. Kane can be sad, miserable, happy, sad, glad. Kane can go through so many emotions and has gone through so many emotional changes in his character throughout the 15 years he's been there. With Taker, you don't see that diversity in him. That's why I put Kane over Taker. But okay, enough of my Kane erection. This match wasn't nothing special, but it was serviceable. The snap suplex on the steel barricade was good. They both used the table philosophy of he who gets it goes through it. So Cena got the table first, and Kane put Cena through it, and then the finish was a attitude adjustment to the table, which Kane got. But I just killed my finish. Two things I want to talk about. The sit-up. Cena sat up like The Undertaker normally does. He did the throat slash, and then he chokeslammed Kane. And let me just tell you, that was one of the worst chokeslams I've ever seen in my fucking life. The Hurricane's chokeslam on The Rock was better, which also took place in Cleveland. That was a better looking chokeslam than Cena's chokeslam on Kane. And next to the sweet chin music, a chokeslam is one of my favorite wrestling finishes of all time. I mean, obviously Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler, so the super kick gets that distinction as my favorite move. Or actually, no, I'll give the stunner my favorite move. But anyway, I love chokeslams. Okay, I've watched a 20-minute compilation on YouTube of just chokeslams. I love the move that much. And that chokeslam, I don't know whether it was the way Cena threw it or the way Kane took it or the fact that Cena is shorter than Kane. That's probably why it looked awkward. Not a good chokeslam, but I get why it was done. Anyway, the finish went with Cena put Kane to the table to the AA, and then Cena talked more trash about The Undertaker, called him a coward, and said, "I hope that I see you next week." My guess is that we see Taker next week. If we don't, I wouldn't be surprised because if you remember WrestleMania 31, we didn't see Taker at all until WrestleMania. But it would be nice to see Taker next week. Alright, moving on to SmackDown. And man, I'm getting through this way faster than I thought I would. And it's not going to take me long to get through SmackDown because I was there live in Pittsburgh, and I basically just fast forward a lot through it. So, SmackDown starts off with a Daniel Bryan recap. Then we have Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh, but Sunil Singh is replaced with Rusev. And this is what I want to talk to you about, this particular moment here. My friend Brandon, who is a member on the Chair Shot group, which is where I'm an admin at, he said that the crowd was dead for Rude. And me sitting in the arena, I'm like, well, people were cheering for Rude. I mean, I was cheering for Rude, but I'm only one person out of 16,000 people. And he said, the only person people cheered for was Rusev. So, as I just watched SmackDown tonight, I text my friend Brandon, and he said, you know what, man, you're right. I mean, from a TV perspective, they were kind of dead on Rude. But I think the reason why, and I'm stealing a quote from my friend Harry, he's an admin over on the Chair Shot. And Harry says that Rude is more sizzle than substance. And what he meant by that is that Rude's elaborate entrance, overshadows his ring work. Not saying that his ring work is bad, but his entrance is so elaborate that Dolph Ziggler was right a few months back when he said, all you are is a fancy entrance. Which he's not all the way right because, like I said, Rude can work in the ring. But his entrance is so elaborate that it overshadows that. Which is the opposite for Shinsuke Nakamura because Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance is elaborate, but his ring work matches the, I guess, his ring work matches his entrance. His entrance is awesome, and his ring work is just as awesome. And I mean, damn, Shelton Benjamin and Nakamura on paper, that's a recipe for a Dave Meltzer 5-star classic right there. But I'll get to that match when I get to it. So we have the tag match. Sunil is replaced by Rusev. Rusev gets a huge pop. Let's see here. It's a great back and forth match. A couple of hot tags. Orton gets the hot tag. He's over on Rusev. Sets up for the RKO. Jinder jumps in the ring. Rude jumps in the ring. Jinder smacks Rude, and Rude falls on Orton. But Orton, of course, doesn't see that. All he does is he feels Rude on top of him. He gets in Rude's face. Rude pushes him. Rude gives him an RKO. And then the Machka kick, and Rusev pins Orton for the 1-2-3. Out of that, we go backstage. Rusev says, you know what? Jinder says, great job. It was so great to have you on my team. And Rusev says, Jinder says, when I win the U.S. title, I'm going to have the biggest Maharaja celebration, and I'm going to invite you. And Rusev says, well, I'm going to go find Daniel Bryan, and I'm going to request to be in your match, making it a fatal 4-way, considering that I pinned the U.S. champion. And it's announced later on that he's in that match. We don't actually see the conversation with Rusev and Daniel Bryan, but it's announced later. It's actually shown in the graphic, showing Rusev in the U.S. title match, now making a fatal 4-way. I like this for two reasons. Number one, they're not mirroring Raw with the triple threat. And two, Rusev is in a high-profile match at WrestleMania. Because it's not going to be WrestleMania Day. It's going to be Rusev Day. And I cannot freaking wait. And one thing I can't wait to do is I can't wait to do my predictions video for WrestleMania 34. Because this shit is... It is just a packed card. WrestleMania is about to be like 8 hours long. WrestleMania is going to be long as a work shift. A 9 to 5. That is fucking nuts. Anyway, out of that, we go Shinsuke and AJ backstage. Shinsuke says that he wants AJ to be in his corner to counteract Chad Gable when he faces Shelton Benjamin. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Shinsuke's facing Benjamin in the main event. Gable's going to be in ringside, so AJ's going to be there to counteract Chad Gable. Out of that, we go to Becky versus Ruby Wyatt. Ruby has been impressing me before Fastlane, and that whole build up with her and Charlotte. She's really been impressing me, and she did not fail to disappoint in this match here. Ruby uses the Riot Squad to try to run interference. The referee negates that. Ruby Riot tries to pin Becky with her feet on a rope, but the referee stops the count when she sees her foot. Becky then goes for the disarmer. And I like how they teased this like this was going to be the finish. Like they did a whole circle around the ring while Becky has Ruby's arm. Even Becky even manipulates Ruby's body into taking out the Riot Squad who got on the apron. So she steps over to go to the disarmer. Ruby rolls her up in a schoolboy, or I guess a schoolgirl. And then Becky counters that into an Oklahoma roll to pin her. They show up after the match, the Wyatt Squad, to try to jump Becky, and Becky whoops all their asses afterwards. So it's like, we're just making Becky look strong here. It's kind of a strange way to end. But it was cool. I'm thinking they probably did that to so kayfabe Becky would be ready for the Mixed Match Challenge. Maybe that's why they didn't go with the whole beat down there, because she would wrestle in the Mixed Match Challenge later on that night. So there. Daniel Bryan promo. This was probably the best part of the show for me, just because of Daniel Bryan's passion in his promo. I'm not going to really go over the whole promo. I'm basically just going to hit the bullet points. He recaps what happened last week. He says that SmackDown is the opportunity, land of opportunity, and I'm really getting sick of that. catchphrase. He announces that he's going to team up with Shane McMahon to take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in the tag team match. That is if Shane McMahon is medically cleared. And I'm not talking about the beat down he took on TV. He suffered some sort of injury, a hernia or something. I don't know what it was off camera. That's legit. And they don't know if Shane McMahon's going to be ready for WrestleMania. Hopefully he is. Or they have a suitable replacement for Shane, which for me would be Ziggler if I had to pick someone. But anyway, the stipulation here is that if Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan win, which they won't, but if they win, then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stay fired. However, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, then they can come back to work. Which one of two things is going to happen here. I think that, like I said, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to win. Shane McMahon's going to eat the fall. Or maybe Shane and Daniel win, and then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go to Raw. Or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win with Shane McMahon taking the fall, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn still go to Raw. So there's three things that could happen. So there's the Daniel Bryan promo. Oh, and Andy says that he's going to kick their ass. Which, I love the fact that Daniel Bryan is so modest. He says, I probably shouldn't say this, but at WrestleMania, I'm going to kick their ass. And it's like, yay, we all cheered. But then I thought, man, Daniel Bryan saying, I really shouldn't say this. And I'm thinking it's going to be something like, oh shit, get the censors ready. Daniel Bryan's about to say some CM Punk shit here. And then he just says, oh, I'm going to kick their ass. And it's like, that wasn't a big deal. But he still got cheered, so fuck it. New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. This gets interrupted by the Usos, so it's no contest. Nothing much to say here. Then it's announced that it's going to be a triple threat tag team match, and I think that was when they put the graphic up for Rusev. Ziggler versus Tyler Breeze. There was a time when Tyler Breeze was a big deal. I remember at a Survivor Series, I can't think of which one it was. I want to say 2013, where Tyler Breeze actually beat Ziggler. He beat him on pay-per-view. Tyler Breeze was a big deal once upon a time. Now he's just a glorified dropper. And this match is one of those matches that if I didn't see it, I don't feel like I would have missed anything. I don't feel like the show would have been missing anything. This was a nothing match. Ziggler won. And the only thing they talked about in this match was the fact that all three men were in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That was it. So that match happened. The main event, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Shelton Benjamin. This was not a Dave Meltzer 5-star classic, but it was a damn good match. You have very good workers who work together outside the WWE, so they know each other in the ring. Chad Gable gets up on the apron. AJ swats him down. Knee to face. Shinsuke wins the match. After the match is over, they have a dialogue promo. AJ says a bunch of shit, which is not important, but what Shinsuke Nakamura says, and I think it's the person that talks the least is heard the most. Because I couldn't tell you word for word what AJ said. I mean, I could paraphrase it like, I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania, this, that, and the third. The house that AJ Styles built. Flip hair, because he does that a lot. But Shinsuke said, this is why I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. Because you're too emotional. And that's it. And what's crazy is that Shinsuke says it calm as a cat. This is why I'm going to beat you. You're too emotional. Shinsuke walks away. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin jump. AJ, I almost called him Lee, jumps AJ Styles. Shinsuke clears the ring of both Benjamin and Gable. Shinsuke sets up to Kinshasa. He gets inches from AJ's face. He stops, looks at him, says knee to face, pats him on the head, and walks away. And in the build to WrestleMania, and I'm including Raw and SmackDown, That was the best ending to a show that I have seen on the build to WrestleMania thus far. I'm a little biased because I was there live for it, but nonetheless, damn, that was good TV. That was good TV and good storytelling. Awesome. So as far as who won for the week, SmackDown won for the week, and I'm not saying that because I was there live. SmackDown just had matches that were good. The tag match, Rude and Orton versus Jinder and Rusev, Becky and Ruby Wyatt, Shelton Benjamin and Shinsuke Nakamura. 3 solid, good matches. Which is the point of this. It's wrestling. Yes, you have your drama. Yes, you have your mic time. You have your promo time. But the main ingredient is wrestling. And SmackDown had great wrestling matches. Raw really didn't. I can't think of one match from Raw that stood out to me except Cena and Kane. That was it. I can't. I'm not even gonna go through my notes because it's not. There's not one match or one moment on Raw that stood out for me. SmackDown won for the week, hands down. I'm impressed with myself for getting through this video as quick as I did. Under 40 minutes. Win for me. And this has been episode 71. You guys have a wonderful night.